How's it going, guys? Happy Monday. Was supposed to upload Gran Turismo, but we have some news coming out that I want to make a video on, and it is F1 Manager 2022, and as you can tell by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about a possible NASCAR manager coming in the future, if someone could maybe think about making one, but let's dive into it. I want to give a shout out to all the Patreon members for always supporting the channel. You guys are the absolute best. Now let's get into this. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because, guys, I'm a big fan of Football Manager and I'm a big fan of Pro Cycling Manager. Those are the two manager games that I play. Back in the day, I think there was like NFL Head Coach, which was a style of manager game for American football. But in terms of like real managers type games, it's, Football Manager is the most popular one, and then for me specifically, Pro Cycling Manager, which is not as popular, but as you guys know, I'm a big cycling fan, so Pro Cycling Manager for me is also a lot of fun. Now this was a little bit of a surprise to me. I didn't know that this was being made. I didn't know anything about it. But the Frontier developers, who I don't think have made a manager game, Frontier have made Elite Dangerous, Planet Coaster. They've also made Planet Zoo and Jurassic World Evolution 2. They are a UK-based game developer, but they are making F1 Manager 2022. I don't want to, I haven't done enough research on them, but I personally don't think Frontier have ever made a manager-style game. So that's why I'm very intrigued in this. As to why they're making it. Now, let's actually show, it's a minute long, let's show the trailer of F1 Manager 2022.
This is a sport like no other. Countless hours of planning and preparation have brought you here. You have tested, strategized, tuned to perfection. Your drivers and crew have practiced relentlessly. They are focused, synchronized, ready for your lead. And from the moment the lights go out, the decisions you make, the risks you take, this is what gets your team to the podium. Do you have what it takes to win?
So you guys just saw it, and if you don't know what a manager game is, a manager game, it's not like, so you have, the official NASCAR game and the official F1 game, F1 2022, NASCAR Ignition 21, where you actually race and you drive the car, right? In a manager game, it's not like that. So in Football Manager, you don't actually play the game. You have decisions to make, and you can, in Football Manager, you're like the manager, so you give like tactics, you put the tactics out, you can give speeches, hype your players up and stuff. And in F1 Manager, it's the same thing. You wouldn't be driving the car, but in F1 Manager, you would be making decisions, pit strategy, stuff like that. So you are essentially, Christian Horner, Toto Wolff, those leaders. That's what you are. So you are deciding when to pit your driver, or, and since it is F1, you probably have to be in control of two teams. So it's going to be like, all right, for driver number one, example, Lewis Hamilton, we'll pit him here. Driver number two, which is going to be George Russell, we'll pit him there. Strategy and all that stuff. So that is what a manager game is about. You're not actually racing or anything like that. That's what the actual licensed game is for. But this is really, really interesting because I've actually never played a racing style manager game. Now, back in 2015, 704 Games made a NASCAR Manager mobile game, but it was like it was a mobile game. It wasn't really good. It wasn't fleshed out. It was just a mobile game. Whatever. That's not what I want. And you could actually drive the car. That's not the point. You don't want to drive the car. That's actually the point of the manager game. You want to make decisions, and the game's algorithm kind of goes in a way where your decisions then affect it. So let's take a look at the features of F1 2022. So in the career, it says, write a new chapter in a bold new era for Formula One. Choose your F1 team and guide them to glory throughout the official 2022 races by beginning your journey at the back of the grid or taking your place in pole position. In F1 Manager, the choice is yours. Your task is to impress the board by hitting your season targets and long-term goals, securing your team's success for years to come. So you can take for example, Haas F1, or you can take Mercedes. I don't think you can actually make your own team. It doesn't look like that yet, and this is the first iteration of an F1 game, so I'm sure that would come in the future. For example, in Football Manager, you actually don't do that either. So yeah, mostly in manager games. In Pro Cycling Manager, you can make your own team. That's a part of it, but usually you do take over someone already in real life and then you manage. The HQ, build your team, your constructor team, are the heat or the beating heart. I don't know why I said heat. The beating heart of racing operations, and between races, control every detail of your team from HQ, monitor the performance of your star drivers and staff, keep your finances in the black, and scout best-in-class staff from rival teams to give yourself an extra edge for upcoming races. Yes, that does happen in real life. Just look at Red Bull's new powertrain. They're building a new engine in 2026. They have literally taken a lot of members from Mercedes in order to build that. The factory, perfect your car. So get your hands on the 2022 striking new car design and race closer to your opponents than ever before. Assign new parts for your cars to prepare for the races ahead. Choose your engineering approach to gain advantages on upcoming circuits. And will you develop a well-balanced system focusing on areas needing improvement or excel in specific aspects of performance? For all you racing car engineering nerds, this is a dream to you. We've seen it a little bit in the F1 games where you have essentially the R&D tree. Well, this is the R&D tree times 5, and you know, just scale it up. It's like, you know, basically designing an Excel sheet. These games are for the nerds, guys, and it's a lot of fun. But you know, you got to know your things, and every aspect of that car in this game will be in your control. And then in the race, so create and execute your strategy from lights out to the checkered flag. You're in control on own every decision, from pit strategy to tire choices to driver callouts. Plan your approach, but be prepared to react to dynamic race events such as weather and fluctuating track conditions. Immerse yourself in a hyper-realistic simulation of an official F1 race presented in true-to-life broadcast quality. So again, you are like Christian Horner or Toto Wolff or Zach Brown. That is who you are, and you have to make the decisions. You can have dual roles though, so I'm not sure, like, let's say you instruct your engineer to give the call out to the driver, or if you are giving the call out yourself, but you guys get the gist. And it is coming in 2022 on PC, which is what I'll be playing it on, PS5, and Xbox Series X. So that's F1 Manager 22. Now I want to talk about NASCAR Manager as well, because I'm definitely going to buy this. I am definitely going to play it, and I'm going to play it on the channel, and I'm going to have a lot of fun. I love these manager type games. You can waste a lot of your real life time on it and spend hours and hours and hours, and sometimes it's unhealthy spending hours and hours and hours on a manager type game, because you are essentially looking at Excel sheets and trying to do budgets and all that stuff, and it's like, why do you find this fun? But these games are a lot of fun. I have so much fun playing Football Manager, and specifically for me, Pro Cycling Manager. I love Pro Cycling Manager. I actually think it's better than Football Manager. Again, like I said at the beginning, I've never played a racing type manager game, so I really want to play this. I want to see what it's like, and I'm not expecting something incredible because this is their first iteration for the developers, and you know, as their first iteration, I'm pretty sure there'll be features missing and some bugs and stuff like that. But if they want to make this a yearly thing and keep improving on it, I would be really excited to then have essentially a F1 licensed game like F1 2022, and then another F1 licensed game, but in a manager style mode. I'm really excited for that. I think the Madden games actually suffer because back in the day there used to be NFL head coach, and now there's only, you know, Madden, which sucks. So you kind of take away a game there. I'm hoping this runs well. So let's talk about NASCAR Manager and the possibility of this happening, because this did, you know, essentially to me, I was like, whoa, we can actually make a NASCAR Manager game if it's possible. I wouldn't expect Motorsport Games to do it because I don't think they would have the ability or any of the experience to actually do it, and they need to put their focus in their own slate of games, which is the NASCAR games and the IndyCar and BTCC and all that. I want to point out, Codemasters is not making this, right? So Codemasters makes F1 2021 and F1 2022. This is a completely different developer. So so you would actually have to go to NASCAR, whoever runs NASCAR's gaming department and esports and all that, and go to them and be like, hey, would you be willing to give out your license for a manager style game, and would you be able to find a developer out there that would want to do it? And I think these games, let's see how this one goes, but I think these games could be very successful. So essentially, this is every car nerd, you know, racing nerd who wants to own a team. This is their dream. This is my dream. I mean, you get to make every decision and build a team on your own. You have to manage however many employees that you have to manage, 50, 60, 70, 100, whatever it is. You have to manage all that. You have to manage everything in your engine department, in your chassis department. You have to manage everything with your drivers, their contracts, their salary, if they want in, they want out, if they're happy, if they're not. You have to manage driver potential. You have to scout different drivers from lower leagues. So in NASCAR, you could have Xfinity Series, Truck Series, and you could have grassroots racing. You can go ahead and scout a 16-year-old that's racing in late models and put an eye on him and put him in an academy, and then you take him, Toyota Racing Development. You could be in charge of Joe Gibbs, and you have this. You could be have the access to the Toyota Racing Development and sign young drivers to that Toyota Racing Development, monitor their progress, and then elevate them to the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series if you want. All this can be done in a manager game because, again, guys, you don't actually race. That's the reason why you can do it. So it's not like you have to build a physics system and you actually drive the car. No, that's not what manager games are. There is an algorithm. There is kind of like a presentation that does it for you. But the decisions you make and the ratings and all that get put into the algorithm, and that is what creates the game. So that is why you can then just load yourself with all this different quality and options and features of scouting and contracts and salaries and ownership and engineering and R&D and pit crew and morality and all this kind of stuff. And that is what creates the manager aspect. And for NASCAR, I haven't even talked about sponsors. So I actually didn't read anything about F1 and the sponsors here because we know each of these teams have sponsors. I haven't seen any of that in the descriptions, but you obviously have to sign different sponsors. Most likely in the manager game, it would be fantasy sponsors, not real life sponsors, because you don't, licensing issues, but you would have to sign fantasy sponsors that would bring in revenue for that team or for your team in order for you to pay for better pit crew members, better engineers, all that stuff, better drivers even, and then, build your team throughout. That is the point of a manager game, and it sounds like a lot, because it is a lot. But when you do make an officially licensed manager game, and not so you don't have to just do it in the actual, the licensed NASCAR 21, NASCAR 22, you could still do a sort of career mode, owner mode there, but you can really dive really deep into just the whole statistical aspect of it. How many people would enjoy that? These games are notoriously not as popular as the main games. Football Manager is not as popular as FIFA. We all know that. NFL head coach stopped because it wasn't making enough money or whatever it was. F1 Manager will not be as popular as F1 2022, the actual game where you drive the car. We understand that. But I think if it gets enough support, and I will be very interested to see what the main content creators for F1 like Tiamat Marduk and Arif and all those guys who are they have the massive F1 followings. I'd love to see how much engagement their videos are going to be able to generate and what how much this game sells. What is it going to be like? I will obviously play it and have a good time with it, and then just throw the idea out there to NASCAR. Again, it would not be Motorsport Games, guys. So throw the idea out there to NASCAR and their gaming department and be like, hey, would you guys be interested in this? Could you find a developer, or if a developer comes up to you and says, hey, can we make a manager game? We'll have it ready by 2024, 2025, whatever you want, and give us the tools to do it and be able to have that. I think it would be really cool because in F1, it doesn't show it in this game. It's only F1. But in F1, you could have F2, F3 as breeder series, get drivers from those series, scout them and all that stuff. And in NASCAR, you have the Xfinity series, you have the Truck series. So you can scout drivers from that stuff. It's really interesting, and it's a really bright idea. And again, more options in the gaming department would be just cool for me. And I love manager games, so this would be really cool. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Essentially, would you like to see a manager game for NASCAR? What do you think about F1 Manager? And then, would you want to see a manager game for NASCAR? We've never really had it. There was a mobile game that's not really a manager game. It's just a mobile game. Would you be able to play it? Would you want to play it? Would you want to put the time in it? Would you support it? Would you buy it? And would there be a game developer out there that would want to do it? So that's something that's really interesting to me. And this was really cool and big news. So I'll definitely, and the thing about these games is like, actually when you make content on it, it's actually better to stream it than to actually just make videos, because you know it takes so long where you're just sitting there at a screen, you're like, yeah, I gotta calculate my salaries and my budget and see what I can do here and there, and it's like you're not really doing much, but you're actually doing a lot when you play these games. It's a lot of fun. It's like a glorified Excel spreadsheet, and you really just try to, you know, manipulate it. It's I don't know why these games are fun, but they are. They're very, very addicting. Let me know what you guys think. We will upload Gran Turismo tomorrow. I've been delaying that video because obviously I'm trying to get it out there, but you know, there's been other things I want to do and talk about. We'll get to Gran Turismo tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you're not already. If you want to directly support the channel, the Patreon link is down there below, and all of the other information that you need down there. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your week. Have a good day. Peace out.